This week's podcast is a really cool one for people out there in the world of shred products. I've got our in-house nutritionist and regulatory guru on board. How are you, Tatiana?
Good, how are you?
Cool. And you just finished, let's just let people know, you just finished a little bit of study the other day?
Yeah, so I finished a master's in public health and epidemiology. So I do all the stats for health as well.
Nice. So here we're going to talk about the new Shred Ultra Advanced.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
Let's rip in.
Welcome to the Body Science Podcast. As always, the information contained in this podcast is for the information purposes only and is not designed to diagnose or be prescriptive to treat, prevent, or manage any injury, disease, or other health-related condition.
Welcome to Body Science HQ, the world of fit, happy, healthy. I'm going to throw on the end of that Shred Ultra Advanced. It is the new one. It's out. I'm really excited about it. And before I get too excited, I should say, hey, Tatiana, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. And we got you on board because we're going to have a chat today about why people would take it. Why do you need these type of products? Are they worth the money? Do they do what they say they do? And you've had a really good experience. You've come from being an athlete with us where you believed in the brand and represented your country and all the things you did. And the reason I'm talking to you is you didn't represent them in surfing, because if you had represented them in surfing, you wouldn't be here right now on this podcast. The other side of it, you've come on board with us and you've taken on a regulatory role along with your nutrition role here, and you've really experienced what goes into making a therapeutic product.
Yeah, it's a difficult process.
Did you have any idea it was like that though before? Like I know I go on about it's therapeutic, it's about a standard, but do you go, yeah, there goes the big fat bald dude going off again?
I knew the policy side of things, and I knew it was always difficult, but us trying to match the policies and the formula was a different level of difficulty. And
when you say it's difficulty, you're just taking the bullshit out because you're talking about why we do what we do. You know, it's really easy to say, hey, this does this. And you can grab onto a little bit of research and just hang off the end of it, the one little thing in there that's really cool. But what you've worked out, and I don't want to lead this conversation because I currently am, and feel free to talk whenever you want, Tatiana, and I just want people to understand that you just can't make claims.
Yeah. So just going back to basics for whoever's listening. So the new Shred Ultra Advanced is a TGA product. That means it's a Therapeutic Good, as registered through TGA. So all the claims that we have here, we had to find clinical trials to prove that they are real. So nothing here is just a marketing claim. Everything here we had to prove that actually happens.
And the really cool thing that people probably don't get there is it's not just the ingredient we're talking about, it's the amount of the ingredient and the intended use of the product.
Exactly. So for example, green tea, we originally were looking at maybe a gram of green tea, and then all the studies were around 2.5 grams to 5 grams of green tea.
Yep.
We couldn't fit all of that into one scoop, so we had to find enough studies that would still get the same results for whoever's taking it. We'll still be able to get the claims. We'll be able to fit it in the portion, but that met the claims because 1 gram of green tea, we had no claims on it. So,
and that's why there's 2.5 grams in this product.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, we have to match the people that are taking the supplement.
So if it's and what you mean there is if the study is around 60 plus.
Yeah,
pops,
that's not our market.
Not our market.
And then we'll probably have to put on the end of our claims, increases muscle mass in elderly patients, and that's not what we want. So it's really difficult because the age has to match. If it's just a study with males, we have to write in males. We can't write just males and females. So it's not easy. So for every ingredient with each claim, we need 2 clinical trials. That's really difficult to find. And TGA also looks at the quality of the study. So if you get
why is that important?
Because it's easy for us to find clinical trials that were done on the corner of our street on a nothing lab, but it's really difficult to find clinical studies that have seen more than 30 people that are actually prove that happens. So to be in terms of statistics, to be a good clinical trial has to have at least 30 people.
And some of the hard things from this when you look at it is when I'm formulating and I work closely with Tatiana, I don't just want to put like pure caffeine in this. I want this to be like a stage caffeine concept. So I'll say, let's put some green tea in there. Let's do A, B, and C. And then you look at me and go, oh no, here we go. And people don't understand the complexity of that.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, I think we figured right from the beginning that just putting caffeine in it isn't working anymore. We know caffeine can have the reverse effect. So instead of getting you alert alert and ready to work out. You might get dizzy, you get confused, you get headaches. So if we put in too much caffeine, it won't work either. So our aim here, especially with this one, is a really good nootropic, was to find ingredients that would boost that caffeine effect without giving you the side effects of extra caffeine.
And it's really important, like when you look at that pre-market and that shred market that does base itself on energy levels, and caffeine became really easy. Like there's some products in the market that have got 200, 300, 400 milligrams of caffeine a serving. They serve the people that take those and, happiness to the world in that space. But for us, we're looking for people that want to get performance day after day after day. And there's only so long you can belt yourself with caffeine before it just becomes caffeine.
Yeah. And then you end up not being able to have a coffee during the day either, because it will trigger straight away headaches and gastrointestinal discomfort.
But a lot of people don't get that. They just take more caffeine.
Yeah, because you do build up on caffeine and then it starts to not make a difference anymore. So you start at 200 milligrams a day, for example, and you get to 800 milligrams a day and then it makes no difference anymore. So you have to get off it. If you have to actually get off the caffeine to be able to see the effects again.
Now, that's a nutritionist saying that. None of us care. And I'm just saying that because I want to go down this path, okay? Because a lot of people are going, oh, listen to her go now, blah, blah, blah. But what you're saying actually makes complete sense. And we need to go back to, why do people want caffeine in the first place?
Yeah.
And it's not just caffeine that can give you those effects. And that's where you're trying to head with what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the main reasons we take caffeine is to wake up, is to be alert, increase our mental performance and physical performance as well. So get that boost of energy. And we have so many herbals and other ingredients that we can use nowadays that don't have caffeine, have natural stimulants that will help with other things as well, have antioxidants and other properties that will help boost that caffeine effect. So we don't need to just have caffeine.
And I say to the people out there that go, oh, look, look, we'll talk about the new rules about the 100 milligrams of caffeine and 400 milligrams max a day in our industry. Yeah. But you got the people out there who go, oh, it's got 100 megs of caffeine, it's no good. Well, what I say to those people is just go buy coffee.
Yeah.
If you just want caffeine, put 3 scoops of coffee in. Like, you're getting the same thing. Why pay for a high-end pre-workout or a high-end? It's the combination of everything together that really matters.
And that's, to be honest, this is something that I didn't expect from you, to be really honest. I didn't know what you did at work before I started actually working.
Don't let the secret out, because no one else here knows what I do either, and it's a really good place to be.
It's actually a really fine art to get those ingredients together and get ingredients to build on top of each other and work together. This new shred I'm really excited about because I've had it and it's amazing.
And look, I've got to be honest, when the world became mandated last year to change the way we talked about sports nutrition, and most sports nutrition is a therapeutic now in the world of the regulatory people.
Yeah.
And I mean, the industry's still yet to adopt to that, but it is definitely where it's going. And then when the caffeine rules came in this year in March, I think it was, early March, 100 megs of caffeine, I went, wow, that's really going to hurt our industry because we're renowned for performance.
Yeah.
And it was really good for me because I had to go and dig deeper, because it's really piss easy as a formulator to go, just chuck a bit of caffeine in there, she'll all be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we've never really played that game at Body Science. It's always been about, our shred's been a therapeutic for years, but the therapeutics got rocked by that same rule as the sports nutrition products did.
Yeah.
For us, there was a lot of work, in an undivided dose, and that's what we're talking, something that's not got a control as to start and stop of a serve. Yeah. Like a sachet, for example. It went from, I think we used to run about 2% caffeine, so we could run a 5 gram serve for shred for a split serve, a 5 and a 5. Well, the government's now made it 1%, so 10 grams becomes the smallest serve we can do to deliver a caffeine in an undivided dose. So there's been a lot of work on, okay, we've got a 10 gram serve now. What are we doing with the brand? What are we doing with the product? And it's been really good working with you in this space. And I'm the first to say you're not a herbalist, and you're a nutritionalist, but you've coming from studying Brazil and doing whole things over there, you do things way different over there to what happens over here.
Yeah.
It was really interesting when you started talking to me about the synergy between, for example, the Withania and the Brahmi together.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting when we started digging into that space to realize how all the other products don't have enough in it. Like we had to put 3 grams of Withania in our product to get claims.
Yeah.
That meant something. It's really cool to put something on a label and say, hey, there's a gram of that in a product. But if there's not 3 grams in there, it's not doing what the research says.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was really interesting with you. You're a research nut. Like, you would just lie on a pile of papers all day if you could. But it was really interesting to see you embrace that as a nutritionalist.
Yeah.
Where that was going. Well, I mean, you've always been an athlete. You've always been about performance, and you always want to know what's thing. And do you want to talk about what you learned through that process of the serve size to the ingredients that are actually within that serve, and what we can actually say on a label?
Yeah. So just going back a little bit, in Brazil, we do nutrition a little bit different. We do work with herbs and we call it functional nutrition. So pretty much everyone does the nutrition dietetics bachelor and goes into a master's of functional nutrition, which is the same as being a naturopath here.
Yep.
Here, we're not allowed to do that. So I detached from that for nearly 10 years. I was just being a normal nutritionist here.
Yep.
And I feel like I fell behind a lot compared to my friends back home. And then when I came here, I had the opportunity to work in the area again, which is not like we're looking at traditional medicine. It's been working for thousands of years.
Yeah.
It works. So we just need to reattach ourselves to it. And I think the rules were really hard, but as you said, it made us study and it made us a lot smart in this aspect. And we're still going to improve a lot more, I think. So what the caffeine was is that, as you said, 1% of the powder, if it's not in a pouch, if it's not in a sachet, only 100 milligrams per serve, and you have to split that at least in 3 hours. So you can't have more than 100 milligrams in less than 3 hours.
And that's the Department of Health saying what they think the safe levels are.
Exactly.
It's not us saying, hey, let's make it 100 megs.
Yeah. And then 400 milligrams max a day.
That's an interesting number.
Yeah. There are studies around it. I think the problem with the industry is that we lost ourselves on the amount of caffeine a little bit, looking for performance, and there was some side effects, and then they caught up with that, and now we're in trouble because we're having to catch up with all the new policies. So 100 milligrams per serve and 400 milligrams daily dose. And then once we put the herbals in it, is also the same. So some of the herbals, it's funny because some of them, for example, you can't put more than 5 milligrams, but all the research is between 4 milligrams and 8 milligrams, 8 grams. And then it's hard because you have to find enough, you have to put enough to have the claims, but you have to put less of the maximum that they allow. So it's really difficult to balance. That's why it took us, nearly 6 months to come out with a new formula.
And look, that is why it's a listed medicine, not a food too. I mean, we're not talking about a chef, and nothing against chefs. So, I wish I had one home. We're talking about a listed medicine. So there has to be some barriers to just making a listed medicine. Otherwise, it just goes back to cooking.
Yeah. And the thing with sports food now, so our protein powders and everything, all the sports supplements, we can't have any therapeutic claims on it anymore. And that's what changed from the end of last year. So that means that, build up muscle or helps recovery. We can't write any of that on our labels anymore.
Which I think is madness, personally.
Yeah.
But I'm not the regulator, so I just play the game. But, if you're taking a sports nutrition product, you expect performance benefits. But we drew the line. I remember sitting with Nathan and having a big chat about this probably 8 months ago and saying, what are we doing? Like, I don't think the industry will adopt this because it doesn't make sense. What are we going to do? And we decided, you know what? We play in sport. We play with elite athletes. We are available in Coles, Woolworths. We're available in sports nutrition stores. We need to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So we sat down and we pretty much pulled a lot of our extra products, like our pre-workout now is now a therapeutic. It's no longer a formulated sports food.
Yeah, and that's the first in Australia to do that.
Yeah, and hopefully not the last. That was a hard game too. But if you were to read the rules the way they sit right now, you can't even use the word pre-work. We should be the only ones in the industry that can use the word pre-workout, which is stupidity. I'm going to put my hand up for that. That's the law, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a tragedy that the industry has had to go down this path, but regulation is needed for growth.
Yeah. And I think if we look at it, we have so many big teams behind us, and like with Body Science, and we're getting great feedback from it because it's a lot safer, it's regulated, and the elite athletes are loving it because it's a lot easier for them. It's a no-brainer with us now because we're following all the rules, so they know they don't have to think twice before they have our products.
Yeah.
And that's a really good sign that we're going the right way.
This week's podcast is brought to you by
New Shred Ultra Advanced.
We hope you enjoy the podcast. Get in, have a listen, and if there's any questions, contact Body Science Customer Service. We're here to answer everything you want to know. So let's jump back on Shred Ultra Advanced. It's the new product, new look, new label. It's a new listed medicine. So Tatiana, I'm not looking for you to endorse this because you're an employee here at Body Science. You're going to talk on behalf of it as our head of nutrition and regulatory. Why would I take this?
So we've got the caffeine. So it's a nootropic thermogenic. So when we say nootropic, it's something that will increase your mental function, and thermogenic will increase energy production and heat production in your body. So it used to be a thermogenic. We had the nootropic before, but we added some extra nootropic compounds
A
there.
serious amount.
Yeah. It's a serious investment too. Yeah, I know that. So it's about working out. It's not just working out. I mean, you have mates that don't work out that much, but are using it as a nootropic to
they use it as a
study
coffee
to work.
replacement. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But in terms of a workout, or what I noticed, and this is my personal experience, knowing all the formula helps. But when I took it, you just work out a lot harder, a lot more concentrated. And I've never been so concentrated in my life working out, training. And I train pretty hard. Sometimes you lose yourself for a bit and lose your feet for a bit. The concentration was amazing. You will sweat more, so because you're creating more heat.
Yep.
So it does help with weight loss and fat loss as well.
You telling me there's a correlation between sweat and weight loss?
No, the heat production does.
Just trying to call you out.
So when we talk about thermogenesis, we talk about it's a brown fat. We call it brown fat. It's around our neck.
Yep.
And is so you don't die when you're cold. So it will create heat in your body. You activate that to create heat in your body, and you usually uses fat cells, fat storage for that. So that's what the thermogenic effect is, and it does increase the fat breakdown of fat mechanisms. So for weight loss is great, but not just that. Performance, mental and physical performance is pretty amazing.
Energy. So I'm just going to dig a little bit deeper on it now if we can. I'm going to grab the jar here just to go through some of this. One of the other claims on there, and I'll go through these one by one, but we'll start with thyroid. It says supports thyroid function, healthy thyroid hormones, and thyroid production. Why would I care about that in a thermogenic?
So thyroid it releases hormones that have a lot to do with metabolism. So your heart rate, the amount of calories you burn a day, how you metabolize your micronutrients, so protein, fat, and carbohydrate, and your macros as well. It has a lot to do with your metabolism. So it has a lot to do with weight gain and weight loss as well. So if your thyroid isn't working properly, you're going to gain weight a lot easier. If it's overloaded, if it's working too hard, you're going to lose a lot of weight. You're going to struggle to put on muscle. So having that balance is very important.
And before people out there start hating and saying, you guys, this doesn't work, we've got validated. This is once again, it's a listed medicine. It's got validated evidence for these claims we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so you just led into macronutrient metabolism. And I mean, we can talk about chromium, acetyl-L-carnitine, your B3, etc. So why do we care about that in once again in a shred product?
It's about how well your body is going to break down food and use it as energy. So
it's not just the caffeine energy we get, like the pre-workout type.
No.
We're talking many energy systems here.
Exactly. So from different compounds as well, from different vitamins and compounds. So it's all about how well your body will be able to break down food and create energy again. So it's again creating more energy using better the food you eat instead of being stored into fat storage.
Okay. And just stepping backwards on this, one of the other things here, it says metabolism, thermogenesis, energy and production. And it talks a lot about mental alertness, wakefulness, and reducing mental fatigue. But it also goes on with metabolism of fatty acids, lipids, and there's a lot of things happening in this product.
Yeah.
So metabolism, thermogenesis, energy and performance, once again, from a perspective of someone, and you take a shred product if you're looking to lean up or you're on that type of phase of your life. Why? Why do we care? So
again, you creating more energy, and to create more energy, you end up working out harder. But to create that energy, you're breaking down on fat and sugar and all those micronutrients, and also storages in your body, fat storage.
We're not just talking about caffeine here. We're talking about caffeine, green tea, green coffee bean, iodine, acetyl-L-carnitine, vitamin B3, withania. Like that's in there, up in there in that space as well. And I'm not even going to start talking. I'm not even going to throw into that where the English walnut sits, because, that's not what we're playing here in this space here. But we've got a pretty good formula there that is, outside of caffeine.
Yeah, exactly. So the green tea and the green coffee, you might think we put it there because of their caffeine, but it's not. So the studies have shown that they both contain really powerful antioxidants that trigger fat storage breakdown mechanisms. So, and especially when it's linked with exercise. So when you put exercise with the green tea and the green coffee, it will increase the breakdown of fat storage. So it's not just about, like, we didn't even put those two there because of caffeine. It's because of all the antioxidants that they have. And that's the important thing about this formula is we looked at so many different things outside of the box, would say.
Yeah, and look, I do want to finish up on cognitive function, but one of the big sections we've got on this product as well, which I don't see on a lot of thermos these days, or shred types products, is you've got me to put a general health and well-being claims on here, and You've talked about antioxidants, reducing free radicals in the body, supporting blood vessel health, immune system, absorption of dietary iron, general health and well-being. Like you've really gone to an extreme here. Like this is a product people are buying for shred, but in reality, we can even say it's helping people's general health and well-being.
So like it's just about thinking of you've taken a supplement and you worked out really hard for an hour and then you have energy to do nothing else up the rest of the day, or you're getting sick and your immune system isn't working properly. And that's the thing of being careful with what you're taking and taking your body into an overload that isn't necessary and doesn't have a support for that. So that's what we did with that formula as well, is that we're improving your immune system, we're improving general health and well-being. So you can not only work out really well, but you feel better for the rest of the day, or you function better for the whole day, and your health is being supported in that matter.
Nice. And look, let's drive this home with the big one, and it's one of the reasons I love this product is the cognitive function. So we're really focusing on the Brahmi, the Withania, like the caffeine green tea and the green coffee bean, they all work there as well. Even the iodine and the acetyl-L-carnitine and vitamin C are all playing in that area.
Yeah.
For you mentioned earlier that it was all about cognitive function for you, like the energy comes from feeling better.
Yeah.
And I know we worked a lot with Dr. Brad on this part as well because we wanted to get that synergy right on where that all sits. Do you think we've created a good nootropic, a good cognitive function product?
Yeah, this is the best nootropic I've had. Even though we thought of the thermogenic and nootropic together, in terms of nootropic, this is the best nootropic I had. And I was taking this, I had a 36-hour study like straight just on shred. So I got up at 4:30 a.m., started studying at 5 a.m. and I finished at, I think, like midday the next day on shred. I know it's not very healthy, people, but
Well, you're a nutritionist too.
I got a high distinction for that study protocol, and I was so concentrated in terms of nootropic and what you can get from that in terms of training and your physical performance, that you're training a lot more concentrated. You know what you're doing. You understand your body. You're listening to your body, and it helps for work as well. So we have a lot of the guys here in the warehouse that like the pre-workout before they work out instead of the thermogenic, but they're having that during the day to increase the performance at work. So they're thinking a lot better. So you can use it as a nootropic instead of having coffee at like 3 p.m. when you're about to crash.
I love it. So can we just drop into a few little avatars here? I'll talk about why would a 35-year-old executive take it?
Nootropic. So concentration, instead of just having that caffeine rush that will probably last you about an hour, you're going to have a lot longer of good work, concentrated and just smart. And
what about a 30-year-old female that's doing F45?
It's really going to help because sometimes we get stuck and we lose some weight, and then you sort of get stuck in that middle there that
like
you can't.
Plateau?
Yeah, that is really going to help you cross that line. So it's really going to kick in with the fat breakdown of fat mechanisms, and just increasing your metabolism, because sometimes, especially if you're on a low calorie diet, your metabolism will drop. So that means that your body at rest is burning less calories, and that's when you start to, because when you're working out, we're using our muscles and we use the energy in our muscles mostly. When you're not working out, it's the important part of losing fat, because that's when you're resting, your body has oxygen to break down that fat, and that's the important part of having your metabolism running high all day, because you're burning more fat throughout the day.
Nice. And you've talked about the student being yourself recently on why you'd use it. But the one question I want to ask there is if you're actually using it day to day for your studies, you would definitely also use it the same way on exam day, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't change the protocol at all.
No, I wouldn't change it. And I think that's something that we do is the same with race day and sports is training for the important day.
Yeah.
And you do the same with exams. Yeah.
Nice. And look, just asking for a mate, if there was a 52-year-old bald guy that wanted to know why he should take it, why would he take it?
Nootropic, help exercise, get out of bed, especially during winter. It's hard to move during winter. We have less sun hours. We have less light. It's hard to move. You're cold. And being cold, the thermogenic will really help because it increases your body temperature. So you start moving a little bit more.
Yeah.
But just getting to the gym, just being more concentrated, just the whole day is a lot easier as well because you're not having that caffeine crash. You're not going through that cycle of caffeine. I can work for 2 hours, crash, caffeine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a stable sort of source of energy.
And I just want to shout out to Tez. I'm using her Dose online PT app at the moment. I just want to let you know this morning sucked. So thankfully I had the new shred before, so I got through it. But, Tez, you are not my friend today. I can not look forward to getting out of this chair. Look, let's just throw out to the end of this. From a perspective of our shred versus another shred, just give me a little rundown on what the big differences would be. I don't want to mention names, but just...
Another thermogenic sort of product. The formula, it definitely works together. So we're not just throwing big names there that are marketing. It's great for marketing.
Little tiny bits of big names is not happening in ours?
Not happening. We have... It's TGA manufactured. So all the claims...
So that's specialised facilities that specialise in making listed medicines. So
exactly.
There's a whole lot of standards in place versus who knows where something's made.
In terms of quality and how safe the product is, there's no discussion there. It's a lot safer to have a TGA product.
Mm-hmm.
But what I mean is that all the claims that we have there, all the quantities that we have that match those claims. So you know that what we have that works together. We're not just throwing names there because it's good for marketing.
Yeah, nice. So the new product is called Shred Ultra Advanced. Get on board. New label, new look. Pretty excited about this one. Thanks for coming on, Tatiana.
Thank you.